If you're ever thinking about applying to the United States of America, you have to go through the Common App process. The Common App is simply a platform that links students who want to apply to the US to colleges that are willing to accept students who are applying to the US. So essentially, we're going to start off with a simple Google search. So I'm going to go with Common App, sign in. So I just want to log into the Common App. Okay, sign up. So let's sign up for our Common App. So we've been asked to create a Common App account, which is the first thing that you are required to do when you're using this specific platform. So welcome to the Common App, and welcome again to the college app process. I hope you're ready. So if you already have an account, you can easily log in. If you're a first-year student, you can easily click there. Then you're asked to create your first Common App account. So I've been asked to put account information. I'm going to give you a fake account because I know there are trolls out there who can use my information for no good. Okay, so I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to paste it there. Then I've been asked to create a password. So I'm just going to select any password at random that fits that criteria that they've given me. Then I'm asked to retype that password. So just make sure that the passwords match. Okay, so I write that. It's match. You've been asked to describe who you are. So essentially, you're applying as a first-year student and you plan to start college in 2025 or 2026. And you've been asked to provide your legal name. I like golf, so I'm going to call myself Tiger Woods. Okay, so Tiger. No, I don't have another name people would like to call me, so I am Tiger Woods. Okay. My date of birth, I'm going to choose the one that appears here, 2007, August 25. Okay. Your phone, you simply put your country code, or you can scroll down, accept all cookies, or you can scroll down and look for your country. Honestly, if you can't find your country, I don't know what I can do to help you there. Maybe they don't want you to apply to the US. Then you put the number. I'm going to put in a fake number here just as well. Okay. Then you're going to ask to add a permanent address. Where do you live? Again, you just type your country. If your country is not here, I am sorry, guys. Better luck next time. But almost all countries should be here, though. Then you click that. Then you're able to add your permanent address. Okay. So I'm just going to click the first thing that appears. I live in Zimbabwe, so I'm going to put Zimbabwe over there. Then just click the first address that follows and continue. Okay. And then I've been asked, save my password. Are you currently in a European-based country? I am not. Would you like to receive communications from the Common App about certain opportunities or resources? I would love that. So yes. And then I click that. And then I create my account. As simple as that. So, okay. So welcome, Tiger. This is the Common App for 2025. So if you're applying to college, this is what you're going to see when you log in. So on the far right, you're going to have help and support. In the middle, there's going to be your dashboard where you can be able to see the progress that you have made, the colleges that you have inputted. So you can see that we haven't really had any college here, nothing here yet. Add some colleges to get started. Okay, so we're going to search for colleges. So I chose two colleges that we're going to see. So the first one was Harvard. Okay, and then we add Harvard to the application. The next college that I thought of adding was Davidson College, because you're going to realize there's subtle differences between these two different colleges. And that's one of the reasons why I chose them. So I have two colleges that have already been inputted. You can add as many colleges as you want, guys. You can add, I think there's a limit. You can't really put like 50 colleges, but the more colleges you apply, the better. If you're an international student, sticking to fewer colleges where you've thoroughly done your research will also be very good and useful. Okay, so we can now click on my colleges, and the moment you do that, or you click on that tab, you see that you have now access to these two different colleges and the requirements that they have. So we're going to be navigating through both colleges, and I will show you how to navigate and write these different things that they ask you to input. So if I click on this, first up is general information. Okay, so general information is just basic stuff like, when do you want to start? I want to start in fall. My plan. So when applying to the US, we have different plans. Early Decision 1 is the first pool that is accepted. If you're really certain that you want to apply to Davidson, what you do is you only apply to Davidson under Early Decision 1, and you can't apply to any other colleges because you have to choose one college. You're sure that you want to apply to that, so you apply early. And There are very few people that apply. If you're an international student, having an early decision school is always the best bet. There's early decision 2, then there's regular decision where you can apply to as many colleges as you want. So I really encourage sticking to early decision if you're an international student. Then you can then choose a regular decision plan if you don't get into early decision school. Do you intend on using one of these fee waivers? If you're the son of a Davidson employee, you get a staff waiver, but we are international students, so we'll get an international applicant fee waiver. Do you intend on using need or based financial aid? Yes, I do. Do you intend to pursue scholarships? Yes, I do. And then if you're accepted into an early decision plan, you have to withdraw all your applications to other colleges, and then yes. Then you can sign. I can just put my name here, Tiger Woods. Then I've signed to my application. If I've been a candidate for this institution in any previous year, no. What's my religious preferences? I look for my church. My church is Seventh-day Adventist, so you can put your church. If it's not there, there are also other options you can include. Okay. So you see that Davidson doesn't require applicants to submit SAT or ACT score. So how do you see what application requirements your college has? Well, it's very simple. You're going to go here and go to overview, where you're seeing all the different colleges that you have. Now you're going to see here where it says application requirements, and you're going to click that. And you're going to see all the different requirements for all the colleges that you would have listed. This is very important. Before you even start writing information like I had done, you first need to see what are the application requirements that these different colleges have. So if you look at this, if we start with Davidson, this is their ED date for ED1, their date for ED2. Then Harvard has what's known as restrictive early action. You can still apply early, but it's not binding. That's the first date. And then with regular decisions, you can see that to apply to Davidson as a US citizen, you need to pay $50. As an international student, you don't need to pay anything. But for Harvard, you have to pay $90 in both scenarios. If you're an international student, you have to pay $90, But you can also ask for what's known as a fee waiver, telling them, I can't afford this. Can you please waiver and make it free for me? They can also do that for you. Then here, they'll ask you to upload your personal statement. Sometimes if you have grades or course grades, they would require that, but here they don't. If you have a portfolio, for Harvard, they could collect online portfolios. For example, if you're good in music, you can include your portfolio. And then test policy is always required for Harvard and never required for Davidson. So Harvard requires SAT or ACT. But if you can't write it, they'll ask you to include it. Actually, if you can't write anything. English proficiency, for Davidson, you have to write the Duolingo, the IELTS, or the TOEFL to prove that you're proficient in English. For Harvard, you don't need all of that. Then the TE, OE, MR, and CR are actually on recommendation. So if you click there, you see that the number of teacher evaluations that are required, that's TE. Number of other evaluations required, that's OE. Mid-year report, that's MR, and then your counselor recommendation is CR. So essentially, a counselor is someone who helps you navigate the college application process. If you don't have a college counselor, that's fine. You can just ask a teacher that's helping you through the process to do that. But I'm assuming you should have a school that has a school counselor. If it doesn't have that, perfectly fine. Just navigate this process with some teachers who will be willing to help you. Okay, so this is where you go if you want to see what are the requirements that the college that you're applying to has. Now, if you go here, let's continue. So I talked about the general information for Davidson. If you go to the general information for Harvard, you're going to see subtle differences in these two applications. Remember, no two universities are the same. There are going to be subtle differences in these applications, and that's totally fine. But you see that almost everything is the same. But here for Harvard, they'll say, do you intend on applying or uploading any supplementary materials? If you want to do that, you can be able to choose an option yes. Then you can see the requirements on their website. Do you plan on taking the SAT? So if you can't write it, if you're an international student and you can't write an SAT or ACT, you can just say no. Then they'll tell you, in exceptional cases where it's not accessible to you, would you be willing to submit all of that? Then you can say, okay, I want to submit my A-level results. And then you can write them a short email explaining why you couldn't write an SAT or ACT. But don't lie. Don't say I can't write it and then there's someone else at your school can write it. If you can't afford it, you have to show them when you're applying for financial aid that you couldn't afford to write an SAT. Don't lie, please. So that's the subtle differences between that first section, which is the general section. The next section is the academic section. So I'm interested in studying African studies at Davidson, interested in also studying maybe art history or maybe applied maths, and then you can be able to continue. So they're just asking you what specific program you're interested in applying in. Then you can see here, demonstrated interest in getting to know colleges can be done in a variety of ways. So you can see Davidson cares about demonstrated interest. So demonstrated interest is basically saying if you have met any Davidson member or attended any program that they offered or attended a college fair or had a high school counselor who knew any interest that you demonstrated to show that you like being a Davidson or you have a social media account of Davidson that you followed, that is actually required. It's good for you to include that information in your application. But if that wasn't possible for you, you can actually see if I go to Harvard College and I go under academics, the same section, they'll ask you for a field of study and how you want to do that. You can actually see that they don't require demonstrated interest. So how have you learned about Harvard? List in order of influence. Harvard does not consider demonstrated interest when reviewing applications. So you can see that Davidson cares about demonstrated interest, Harvard doesn't. This is very important because colleges are different. If you're going to go to a college that does require demonstrated interest and you're only realizing that when you're applying, you'll be like, oh my gosh, I didn't even demonstrate interest. You're screwed. Trust me. So if you're an international student, when you're in second year, research how you can be able to apply or how you can be able to show demonstrated interest. If you are already applying, don't choose a school that requires demonstrated interest if you have no interest in that school at all. You're doing yourself no favor. Then we go to the next section, which is family. The family section is essentially explaining your siblings. For example, how many siblings do you have? I'm going to say 1 so that we can just see what comes up. And then who would you like to receive important updates? Maybe my parent 1. Then I provide their email. Okay, so they ask you for your sibling's full name. I'm going to say maybe Tom. Then they ask for your relationship. He's my brother. Then has the sibling applied or is the sibling applying to Davidson? So no, it's trying to sense a little bit of rivalry. So I'll say, no, my sibling is not applying. You won't have any competition for my household. And I can put their education. The same is there for Harvard. They also have the family section. And you can be able to include that information. Other information. So essentially in other information, they're now asking us for a peer recommendation. So Davidson requires what's known as a peer recommendation. So if you have a close friend, a classmate who you think can write you an amazing recommendation or someone of that nature, include it here. If not, you have to include it because it's required by Davidson. So you see, if you're applying to other colleges, they don't require peer recommendation, but Davidson requires it. So whatever college you decide to choose, always look at what they actually require before you even consider finishing it. Because if you realize this the night before you want to submit, what are you doing, right? Have you ever been placed on probation, suspended or dismissed from school, or violated the honor code in any way? If yes, don't lie. Your teachers might say stuff that incriminate you. If you say no, then you can be able to explain the incident as it would have occurred. Recommenders and FERPA. FERPA is basically an Education Rights and Policy Act that is going to protect the information that you upload. But your recommenders, remember we said your teachers are going to recommend you, right? Write recommendation letters. They're going to upload them in different ways, right? So there's also a common app process. There's an entirely different process that we're going to go through for recommenders, but not today. So essentially, your recommenders should be able to apply these things on your behalf. And the moment they upload it, you see this box ticked green, like what it did there, implying that these recommenders have actually seen the things that you have done. Okay. So you can click there. If you click under review and submit common app section, so in order to submit your things, you must complete the following items. You see all these different things that we're trying to complete. So I'm going to click on the education section of the common app. So sometimes it's not very easy to see these different sections. So for example, I couldn't even see this education section when I was scrolling, right? But I was able to then see it when I clicked, I want to submit my essay. So that's when this whole section collapsed. So you can also try that if you're not seeing this. But essentially, if you click on the education section, you'll be asked to include the current high school that you're at. What day did you enter? Was it a boarding school? Yes. Do you live on campus? Yes. Will you graduate early? And then if you've attended other high schools, you include that and explain why you didn't, or why you left those specific colleges. And then if you've taken any college level courses, so for example, if you're applying to Harvard, you've done the Harvard CS50, you have to include that as a college level course. Or if you've done things like Pioneer Academics, these are the stuff that you're including here. Your grades are essentially going to be a place where you are saying what's your graduating class size, what is your class rank. If you're using a GPA, include that. You can see it's not required because some schools don't actually use a GPA. If your school uses a GPA, just include that. Then the courses that you attended, this is essentially where you list all the courses that you took. So if your school followed the trimester, which is if you're following a British system, that's first term, second term, and third term, you click a trimester. If it's a quarterly system, you do all of that. And then you'll be able to report the different courses that you took. So essentially a course, so let me click and actually show you what I mean by this. So for example, if I did 6 courses, if you're in a country that doesn't do courses, 6 subjects, so to speak, you can easily select those subjects. If it's biology, chemistry, physics, science, history, whatever it is, or other, or an elective that you did, maybe humanities, maybe computer science, you click on other. You can easily just click maybe physics, then put the name of the course that you did, A-level or AS physics. Then you can choose whether or not it was AS, whether or not it was an AP class, whatever class that it was. Then you put your schedule. You did it for first trimester, second trimester, and third trimester, right? So how much do you do, for how long do you do that course? Essentially, that's what they're asking. Then you do that for all your courses. Then in honors, there's also a section that could be available. An honor section is essentially any honors that is related to academic performance. So you participated in the IMO, you participated in a math Olympiad, chemistry Olympiad. You have to include that information as you'll be doing that. Then any community-based organizations that have helped you in your application, you can just include those community programs, organizations that have provided you with assistance in your application process. What are your future plans? What plans do you have for the future? That's also something you can include. You want to start college in this year. What's the degree you wish to earn? Maybe I want to get a PhD. They also are interested in you knowing that, as well as your career interests. What interests do you have as you be applying? So you can see that I went here. So let me show you. So essentially, you might be wondering, how did I even go to that section? So remember, just a little recap, you're studying at your dashboard. And then you're going to my colleges, then you're going to click the college that you want to apply to, then go to my common app. So that's where you get access to all that different things that we're talking about. That's your personal information, that is your address. You have to include that as well. That is your contact details. So you can now see all that information that you once had has been uploaded here, right? Your geography or your nationality, all those different things. It has been included here. Okay. So where were we? We're at education. We had already completed this, right? Then the next thing that follows is testing. So if you've taken any tests, that is, if you're an A-level student and you wrote the Cambridge exams, you can include your test here and tell them, hi, I did AS, or I did A2, or I did all of that. And then the activities that you did. So this section is very important because the activity section actually shows them that you do things outside of class. So you can say, hey, I have activities I wish to report. You should all have activities you wish to report. Then you can choose the activity that you want. There'll be separate videos to explain how to write this, but for now, you just choose something. You put your leadership position. What is the name of that organization? Maybe it's a media club and you call it USAP Media Club. You can just type USAP Media Club. Then describe the activity. What did you do? How many levels did you participate? What timing of participation was that? How many hours did you spend per week? How many weeks did you spend per year on this activity? All of that. Then your responsibility and circumstances. Okay. Do you have any circumstances that you wish to talk about? So for example, I did farm work or I did unpaid work for a family business. So that really affected the different activities that I could do outside of class. You should also be able to include that. or for example, you're taking care of a younger person or a household member, you should also be able to include that when you be writing your application. Then the last part is writing. In writing, you have to write the personal statement, which is always something that you have to include. The personal statement is basically a statement in which you explain to the college that, hey, I'm very interested in your college and I have this different interest that I have, or I want to reflect about the time where I felt challenged. There are different topics that you have to include underneath this particular thing. So look at that and be able to see, okay, I want that essay, I want that essay. Then you can now start typing, and that should be it. Then you can continue. They also ask you for some additional information. Has there been anything that has happened in your family? Would you like to share about that? Okay. Then after you're done, if you want to check whether or not your college actually has writing supplements, so supplemental questions, you go here to my colleges, you click on your college, you see here writing questions. So where it says writing supplements. So if you click on the My Colleges platform over there, it shows you the overview. So this is where we started when I first launched the video. I was just telling you about the general, the academics, the contacts, the family, all those different informations. And this is where you see the writing questions that that college has to offer you. So essentially, there are just under 3,000 colleges in the US. Why did you decide to choose Davidson? It encourages students to explore curiosities outside of the classroom. What is a topic or idea that interests you? Or, or if you'd like to submit your resume, you have a resume that is made, please do so here. Then after you're done, you can be able to submit your writing supplements. So that is essentially it. I think that is essentially it. If it's Harvard, you see here, they have short answer questions that you can include. Then they have recommenders, review and submit common app, then contacts, all that. Okay. So essentially, this is how you navigate the common app. And if you're done, you just say, I'm done. I want to review and submit my common app. Then they can just say, whoops, don't submit because you haven't done this, you haven't done that, you haven't done that, you haven't done that. And the moment you upload everything, you see a button here that says review and submit. So that's essentially it. That's essentially how you navigate the common app. And I'm going to do a little brief summary if you got lost or if you're opening it for the first time and you want to log into different things. So essentially, you click on the dashboard. The dashboard will show you the progress that you have made, how many colleges you have done, how many colleges you have been working on. My colleges will show you the overview of all the colleges that you have done, the bigger picture rather. So general, academics, contact, family, other information, recommenders, review and submit, writing questions, you can access them here. For Harvard, the same thing. General, academics, activities, contacts, family, other information, short answers, you can access it over here. But if you want to put specific information, so if I click on Davidson and I want to put specific information like grades, family names in detail, academics, courses that I did, I'll click there on my common app, which is this icon over there. And then it will expand it in depth. Then it will say, give us your profile, your personal statement, all of that, your family, your education, your testing, your activities, your writing. Then you can be able to include it underneath there. And the beauty of this is that all these activities, all this under the My Common application will be sent to every college that you apply to, which is so beautiful, right? For specific colleges, you only have to go here. That's where you do information specifically for that college. That's where we started and we answered information for that college. But the My Common app is for every college that you're going to talk about because your family is going to be the same. Whether or not you are applying to different colleges, your education is the same, your testing is the same, your activities are the same. So the writing questions, you won't see them here, but you can be able to see them under that specific college tab, which is the My Colleges. I hope this video was helpful. I hope that it was able to help you understand how to navigate the common app, how to be able to apply to the specific colleges that you want, and how you can be able to apply to the US. All the best in navigating the process that follows, and I really hope that you can be able to make it when you apply to the US.